Right, welcome back to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Back out here at the log splitter, working on getting more of this split up. Never a lack of firewood, so had some cherry that we got cut up and brought over here too. So keep adding to this pile. But gonna work on getting this split up. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw it on the trailer and get that filled up a little bit more to fill up the shed there. And keep working on it. So had a request last time, or the last video I did mostly time lapse or all time lapse. So had a request to do a little bit more of it in action. So I'll have a little bit more video today, getting this thing splitting some wood. I think I've mentioned this in past videos, but here I have just a jug of used motor oil. So if I'm doing, an oil change on the car, always have these jugs that a lot of times we can get it and we know someone who will burn the oil for heat, but always keep a little jug of it, and it's perfect for kind of putting on the log splitter here. Here it's been sitting a little bit, so the top gets rusty, and with the way this rides back and forth, it just kind of causes that friction and will cause it to kind of chatter. Here I put just a little bit of oil on there and run it back and forth to help kind of free that up. Before we'd use bar oil or something like that, but there's no reason to kind of waste bar oil when you have this used oil that may be sitting around. So there, got a little carried away on the back, but I just kind of keep it there to help lubricate this. And once you get it going back and forth again, it gets all cleaned off. But one thing that I do, and then typically I'll take and kind of scrape off some of the excess that doesn't get worked in or worked off. So here I have a piece of red oak, and it was just kind of a piece that was left over that had to get split down. I believe it's a piece that had ants in it before that I'm just kind of let sit, and they moved out. And then, as I mentioned, have some cherry from a tree that had gone down here at the homestead. So since it was pretty small, didn't mill it up and ended up just using it for firewood. So able to get this. So over at the log splitter here, I always keep a little hatchet. Definitely with this dry wood where stuff gets stuck together and doesn't want to come apart or is super stringy. If I have a little hatchet there, a little axe, you can use that to kind of cut some of the stringy bits. So I just have it stored right there kind of underneath in the log that I actually use to hold up the front. So it's just a super convenient thing to have on hand when you have some of those pieces that don't want to come apart. Notice on this we have the return to where you can push it back and it'll keep going back. A lot of times I don't need a full, movement on that, depending on the piece that I'm running next. So a lot of times I'll try to catch that before it goes all the way back and get it to run forward. It just kind of helps speed up so I don't have as far to move. But once it goes back and I can get it, I typically bump it forward, get it to stop, and then I'll reposition the wood to get ready to run the next split. So this piece here is a piece that's just covered in ants on the outside. So instead of running it through and getting ants all over the splitter, but then also, kind of getting ants all over the other wood, I set this one off to the side, and a lot of times if you kind of set it and get some of the bark off, they'll typically leave because they weren't in the center of this wood. So set it off to the side and we'll probably split it at a later date. So the one thing with this splitter, so the reason it's the length that it is partly, determined by the size of the cylinder, but it was also done this way because if it will fit on this splitter, then it will fit inside our firebox for the house, to heat the house. So I think that's around 22 inches, I believe 24, something like that. So if it will fit on the split, then it will go inside the firebox to heat the house, which is what all this wood will be used for. So that's kind of partly why it's the size that it is. It was done with some intention that way. So in a previous episode, I had mentioned kind of wanting to have a rack on the side, and this is one of the reasons why, is so that you don't have the wood just fall on the ground where you have to pick it up. It'd be handy to have a rack where you can set off these side pieces. And like you saw, I tried to put it there on the piece of wood, but it's just not very big, and that other piece hit it and it fell on the ground anyway. So this is kind of an instance where it'd be nice to have that side rack, be able to stack a little bit of wood while you finish splitting the remaining pieces. Got a pretty good mess going on the trailer right now, so I think I'm gonna move it over and stack. So get the tractor fired up, have that panel hook on the back of the grader box. That'll get this moved over, start stacking. I don't know why, I don't know other people's point of view on it, but for whatever reason, stacking is always my least favorite part of splitting firewood. I don't mind the splitting part too bad, but for whatever reason, the stacking part, I always put it off as long as possible. But I got quite a bit on the trailer here that as I throw it on, it's just falling off now. So get that stacked, should be about another row. So I'll get that stacked. Haven't made much dent. I got this cherry picked up. Haven't made too much of a dent over here yet. Didn't really get through much of it. Getting to the point where I need to switch gears again and do some of the bag firewood. Have some pine, poplar, and a little bit of red oak over there still that I'll split to put in bags. So I'll get one of those totes, put right here in front of the splitter, put another one just downhill there, and split into a tote and get that. Have one of the bigger totes up the hill there, so I'll get it brought down and get it filled up. So I'll probably switch gears after I get this stacked to work on that, but I'll go ahead and get this stacked in the shed. So I'll get the tractor fired up, get that moved over, and start stacking. Here's starting up the B2150. So here you can see it's got just shy of 3,000 hours on it. We've been using the 62 more this summer, but it's very possible that this tractor turns over 3,000 this summer. So have the pintle hook on the back, so you can use the 3-point hitch to go ahead and lift that up and get it kind of in the spot. And then I'll flip that down, and then I do have just a block that I put under the tire to help it from rolling. So get that kicked out from there so that I can get this moved over. So again, starting off, use a little bit of bug spray to just kind of hit everything. Just with storing wood like this, you have the different ants, carpenter bees, and termites and stuff that want to move into this wood. So just do what we can to kind of help deter them. Then here, just pull the trailer in so we can get the wood on the other side instead of having to dig it across. So then, as I mentioned before, the next thing that I'm going to work on is splitting up some of the bag firewood. Try to do a tote or so a month just to kind of keep up on that. So here I move a tote over that has some ash and a little bit of pine and walnut in it. So try to kind of do varied selection in the different totes that I do. So my method typically is to split some, just toss it in the front there, and then once I have a little bit of a pile, then start to stack it, and then once it gets high enough, I'll kind of just start stacking it as I go. But once you get that initial kind of stack going, it's easier to stack as you go here. So this pretty much concludes getting to see the splitter in action and getting some of that wood split and stacked. So thanks for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.